Alright, we got a customer's 2017 KTM 150 XCW. I said that changing the oil or the transmission fluid, it was milky, and there was a little bit of coolant dripping when he had the bike idling. So we're going to check and see if there is a blown head gasket, or perhaps if the water pump seal is leaking. We're going to pull the radiator cap off first. He said he didn't check this. I checked it when he dropped it off, and I gotta push pretty hard here. There is coolant in there. It's just above the fins, so we'll keep an eye on that when we start it. We'll check for bubbles, and then we'll also check after riding to see if the level has gone down. He said that when after transporting the bike here, you notice it was a little bit wet on the pipe here, so maybe it was leaking from this radiator hose here, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. We'll actually clean this off here, get it clean and dry. That way we'll be able to tell if it is leaking coolant more easily. Alright, we're going to do a cold start here, shake up the premix. The gas is already on. This has a Lectron Billetron. First time I've been able to use one of these. It does have a choke, so we'll turn that on. We'll use the Kickstarter. And I'm leaving the radiator cap off to see if I can see bubbles. That'd be a little easier to start. Try it again with the stand on the other side. I don't think there's any power button on this. Let's try the choke off again. Should not take this long to start. Something's off. Hold the throttle open. There's no butt plug in there. Nope. Interesting. I'm seeing a drip of something here. You know, I think I found a problem already. So if you look, let's see, here, right there from the pipe, you can see it looks like gas is dripping out. And another reason why I think that is because looking over here, since it has a clear float bowl, looking at this float, it looks like the fuel level is all the way up to the top. That it should not be that way. I'm guessing it should be right around here. So there's something wrong. Either the float valve is sticking open or the float level is too high. Whatever it is, I'm gonna turn the gas off. Alright, I'm gonna try draining a little bit from there and see what happens. Alright, so we're gonna drain this here, and what I think is happening is that too much fuel is just filling up. It's going too high in the carb, that it's actually going into the cylinder, filling that up, flooding it out, and then causing it to be way too rich, and that's why it's not starting right now, and that's why it ends up going out the exhaust pipe or leaking out the cylinder exhaust port there. So I believe this is where you can drain it from. If you watch closely, that fuel level is going down right here. Oops. Lost the screw there. Okay, so now you can actually see the word level here, and there's two lines, a minimum and a maximum, and the float level, so the fuel level should be in between those two lines, but it was so far up it covered the entire float bowl, so it was going into the cylinder, and I think somehow it was getting down into the transmission oil. So we're gonna have to probably pull the float bowl off and see what's causing it to have too much fuel. But I'm gonna try and fill it back up and get it started. We're gonna turn the gas on again, and the fuel should be between this line and this line here. So if it goes past that, we're gonna have to pull this carb off. So I'm turning the fuel on now. It's filling up. And there we go. Fuel line is right here. I'd say it's right at the high end. So, all right, let's try and start it again. Since the engine was most likely flooded, I'm gonna shut the gas off. I'm gonna kick it over slowly a few times while holding the throttle wide open to try and clear out that extra gas if there's any left in there. Alright, now we'll turn the gas back on, we'll turn the choke on, and we'll try and start it. Let's try the electric starter. Okay, the electric starter is not working, so I must be missing something. Okay. Kickstand spring just popped off. That's weird. Yeah, this just popped off. It looks like the bolt that was there stripped out. I might have to try and repair that. Great. I forgot that the owner told me he removed the wire for the electric starter just because he had problems with it and replaced a bunch of stuff, and he just unhooked it for now. But I'm pretty sure it's getting power because when I kick it over, the dashboard starts to turn on. So it should start. Alright, let's try this again. Let's turn the idle a little bit and turn the choke off, and we'll turn the gas off too. I can smell gas. I think the engine is still just flooded. I see it dripping again. I think the engine's just flooded out. Ooh. Signs of life. Whew. Lots of smoke just from that. Oh yeah. Turn the fuel back on. So I'm checking the coolant here, and I do not see any bubbles, so I don't think the head gasket is bad. I think it's fine. We'll put it back on and go for a test ride. Alright, gas is on. Put that up. That's how it should start. Whew, this is tall. Nice and dusty. Seems to run fine so far. Check the radiators, make sure they're warming up. Yeah, they're getting warm. Doesn't have quite as much low-end grunt as my 200 XCW, but it's better than a 125, I guess. Still a little bit boggy. We're going to open up that power. Oh, I need a screwdriver there. Idling a little bit low. Feel like it's loading up. Yeah, definitely lean on the top end, but I think it's rich on the bottom end. So I looked up online for the tuning. This is the idle. The metering rod inside where the throttle slide is, that controls low end to mid-range power and throttle response, where this is the power jet. It controls half throttle to full throttle. So I believe opening it up counterclockwise makes it richer. So we're gonna go half a turn richer. See how that does. Half a turn richer on the power jet. Still bogging. a rich bog, so we went the wrong way. You hear that sputtering? It's rich all the way around. I'm wondering if it's because the float level is too high. So we'll turn it back in half a turn. Now we'll go another half a turn in, see if it's better. Still boggy when you whack the throttle. Oh, maybe it's better. Yeah, it feels a little bit better. I think we'll go a little bit leaner yet. Yeah, it's definitely too much something, and it feels rich. So it sounds really crisp on the top end, but I just think it's loading up at idle or low end when their throttle is closed, so it's causing it to bog because there's just way too much fuel. So what I'm gonna do is, yeah, it just sounds really lazy and drowning out. So I'm gonna pull this carb off. I'm gonna clean it, make sure that needle and seat is clean, make sure the float is good, and then we'll adjust the metering rod from there. We're gonna drain this again. And another sign that I think that the float needle and valve was sticking is because this drain screw right here, I had to pull it all the way out for fuel to come out, because there's a hole in the side of it where the threads are, so you should be able to just unscrew it halfway and have it drain out, but it was so clogged up, probably from old bad gas, which means it's been sitting for a while, which is probably why the needle and float valve were stuck from getting gummed up from old gas. I'll close that back up. Ooh. Now we'll loosen the carb clamps. Yeah, engine's still hot. Rotate that, and we're gonna have to get a small Allen wrench. Oh, that was already loose. I can pull the cap off with the throttle slide and metering rod. There's a gasket on there, so just be careful of that. It's a little bit tight, but we don't have to get the tank off to do this, which is nice. Ooh. So I don't like this right here. There should not be gunk on the throttle slide. I don't know if that's from dirt or old gas or what it is. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna take this out and clean it. Ooh. Wow. So this is a really tight fit in here, so I'm pulling back towards the air box, and I just barely got it slipped off. I already got a workout last night from water skiing for the first time this year. I guess I'm getting another one, pulling a carb off. I think it might have been easier to loosen the subframe and flip the air box up a little bit. There. Alright, so to make that a little bit easier to get out, I loosened up these two subframe bolts, one on each side. I pulled the seat off. It's just two 8mm. These were Torx head T45, and then just loosened up the silencer, which this has tusk grab handle, so whatever those bolts are, probably 8mm. I just lifted up, kind of pulled back the air boot right here while pulling out the carb, and was able to wiggle it out a little bit easier. Alright, so a few hours later, the engine has pretty much cooled off by now. I'm just gonna check this coolant level, make sure it's still where it was before, and yep, it's just above the fin, so it doesn't look like any has gone down. Alright, with the mostly cold engine, I'm gonna try it without the choke. Okay, let's try it with the choke. Let's see seem to like the choke. That's a good sign. Oh, might need to turn the idle up a little bit. Okay, let's turn it off. Give it a little throttle. Guess it's still a little bit rich. We'll let it warm up for a minute. Alright, engine should be pretty warm now. Throttle response is a little bit better. Less boggy. Well, it feels better. I think I'm gonna go another half a turn on the metering rod and see if that gets rid of that bog some more. It's better. It's definitely better. Oh, still there though. See, it revs out nice and clean, so that's why I think it's not rich or lean on the top end. It's still that bottom end loading up too much fuel, causing it to bog when you whack the throttle. Just a little bit picky, so let's try and get rid of that. All right, went half a turn leaner on the metering rod. So the length was 2 inch 135 thousandths. Let's see if that makes a difference. One kick start, no throttle, no choke, although the engine is still pretty warm. All right, just did a quick test and it's about the same, or maybe even slightly worse, but still hasn't cleared out that bog. It still sounds like it's loading up, so I think I need to go quite a bit richer on the low end. I just went in, so leaner on the power jet. Let's go another half a turn leaner on that. Sounds like it's a little bit better going to wide open. So another half a turn leaner. Still stumbling there. Yeah, we need to change that metering rod again. Go leaner. I think I'm gonna go one full turn. Pretty extreme, I know, but I want to see if that's the problem. 2 inch 1 inch 57 thousandths for the metering rod length. Didn't think I'd have to go out this far, but one thing, well, two things that I think could be causing that. One, the owner said, well, I asked him what fuel he's using and he said 60-to-1, but that's about it. He didn't even know exactly what it was. He just used whatever the guys he rides with for fuel, which is kind of weird, but he said it could even be race gas. So if it is race gas with higher octane, that would cause it to run richer, requiring leaner jetting or leaner air fuel mixture. And then the float height, I was researching, Lectron says that they like to start out rich to be on the safe side because they don't want to send out their carbs too lean. So maybe the float height, just everything is a little bit too rich to begin with. So here goes. Oh, I'm gonna turn the gas back on. Ooh. Maybe it needs a minute to warm up. Yeah, it definitely sounds too lean now. Yeah, maybe we need to go the other way, I guess. That's definitely hanging idle, which means it's too lean. So let's go richer on the high end. So half, one full turn. Go another half turn richer. sounds like it's running rich again on top. Let's go back in half a turn. Yeah, it's definitely better on the top end. Man. Alright, let's go leaner on the metering rod. Alright, we went half a turn richer back in. I didn't measure. I'm guessing it's 2-inch 140 something. Definitely better off of idle. We're really close. Maybe another 1/8 or 1/4 turn richer. Ooh. Very close. It's almost gone. Top end still feels pretty good. It revs out pretty clean. I think the hanging idle is gone. Here, let's stick it in neutral. Idle settles down pretty nice. Back it out just a hair to lower it. Really close. But I went 1/4 turn richer on the metering rod, and I forgot to check the length again. I'm guessing it's 2-inch 140 thousandths, and it's a little bit better. It's still not perfect. I ended up trying richer 1/4 turn at a time with this power jet on the top end and whacking the throttle. It's better, but then when you rev it out, it's sputtering rich. So I don't know, there's no real good compromise. Either get that lean bog when they whack the throttle open and good power revving it out nice and smooth, or if you're riching it up, you get a nice sharp throttle response when whacking it, but then when you rev it out, it sputters. And this is where I'm at right now. I mean, it starts nice and easy. Yeah, almost perfect. A little bit of a bog still. That's definitely too rich, so I don't know what to do. Let's go back leaner, 1/4 of a turn on the power jet. So get that little bit of a bog, lean bog. Yeah, it's still rich on the top end. We'll go another 1/4 turn leaner on the power jet, see if that cleans it out. Just seems to be more sensitive to changes than a carburetor, a traditional one. So 1/4 turn. Better, but still too rich. Once again, a little bit better. 1/4 turn leaner. Better again. So another 1/4 turn leaner. I'm guessing the metering rod is still too lean. Yeah, that revs out nice and clean now, but still get that bog. So we're gonna go richer on the metering rod again. Let's do a quick trail test. Stick it in second gear. Oh. Okay, I think we have a solid running bike here. So I kept going a little bit richer and richer on the metering rod, ended up at 2 inches, 0.90 thousandths length. It might still be a touch lean. Had to turn the idle up quite a bit because it had a hanging idle and it would settle back down before. But now this, I think, is a proper idle. And what I noticed is that when you adjust the metering rod, you also have to adjust the power jet each time. So I richen the metering rod, then I have to lean out the power jet a little bit each time. bog. Seems to run really solid now. I could maybe go another quarter turn richer on the meter rain rod, but it seems to run really good right now. No bog, even low RPM, whacking the throttle open. That is how it should be. I like that. Then it revs out nice, clean, no sputtering, no bog. Yeah, I like it. Another quick woods test, see how well it looks in third gear. It has a little bit more power now, which is good. Still not as nice as the 200, but it's definitely better. Second gear. Super fun bike. All right, so that's the first official time I've tuned a Lectron carburetor, and although I wouldn't say I'm a master at it, I do understand how it works now. There's only really 2 things to adjust on it, at least on this Billetron. I think the newer one has 3 things to make it a little bit easier, but I understand how it works. And now I'm not really nervous or intimidated by tuning another one. So if you have a 2-stroke or a 4-stroke and want to get it tuned, I do have some resources in the description below. Or if you live near Oak Grove, Minnesota and want to get your bike tuned, whether it has a carb or Lectron, there's a link to my website in the description below as well. I'm Kelly Figure from MXHideout. Ride safe, have fun.